audience and viewers out there, good morning. Welcome to our weekly proceedings from Monday to Thursday. For our next item on the agenda, I have the honor to yield the floor to Madam Chair. Madam Chair, over to you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning to you all. May I now call on Honorable Silla to lead us in Muslim prayers, and Honorable join us to do so in the Christian way. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ بالفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر حاسد إذا وخب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ بالناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر وسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما برحمة اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, I ask for your strength and courage to help us face this day and the week ahead of us. I do not know what is going to happen or what lies ahead, but I do know we can conquer this day and this week because you are with us wherever we go, say or do. This I ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you so much. Registrar, can you call in the witness, please?
Good morning, Mr. Witness, number 1 and number 2. Welcome back to our weekly proceedings. As a matter of routine, may I remind you that you are still under oath for continuation of your testimonies before this commission. Madam Chair, over to you.
Good morning, Mr. Jete. Good morning, Mr. Sanyang.
Good morning.
You're welcome back.
Thank you.
Council, can we proceed, please?
Thank you. Morning, Chairperson, Commissioners, and witnesses. Now, Mr. Stanya, last week we were going through the file KMC1 of 2022, which was in respect of the bids for the furnishing of the town hall. I don't know whether the registrar has given you the file. Do you have the file? Do you have the file KMC1 of 22? Okay. So let me refer you to the Canifing Municipal Council Contracts Committee meeting minutes dated the 28th February 2022. Let me know when you find it or if you need
Deputy
assistance.
Registrar? Deputy Registrar, can you get the file and give to council to help him check?
February.
28th February.
Okay.
Yes, 2022, yes.
So in those minutes, they were evaluating the bids for the furnishing of the town hall. Now, let me just ask you, before we go into the document itself, what is the significance of the procuring organization's budget vis-a-vis the procurement that they're going to conduct?
The budget? Yes, the budget will show that the procurement in question is being budgeted for, and that the funding is available for it. Basically, these are the most important things. That.
And it is right that the procurement would usually have to be within the budget.
Yes.
So what happens if the procurement is outside of the budget? I was asking what happens where the procurement is outside of the budget. Is it possible to commence procurement proceedings? There's an estimated amount that should be what the budgeted amount is for, and then enter into a procurement that exceeds that budget. Is that acceptable?
Well, a budget is an estimate based on a market research or whatsoever to determine an estimate cost. Now, during the implementation, what prevails on the ground may differ from what is being budgeted for. So in that case, the procuring organization should update the budget based on what the existing market price.
So when the procuring organization is reviewing the bids, one of the criteria is usually that it should be within their budget, and they usually disqualify bidders whose bids are above their budget. Is that not right?
Yes, it depends because according to the law, it should be plus or minus 15.
Plus or minus what?
Minus 15%. If the budget is about or more than 15%, then it means that it is far above the budget, and probably it cannot, the institution should not go ahead with it.
Okay. So,
But then let me make this clarification. The 15 or plus 15 or minus 15% is when bidding is done and when it is bidded and the offers are more than or lower than 15%. Then in cases like that, it is regarded as being far above the budget or far below the budget. When it is below the budget, the conclusion may be that the contractor may underperform. So this is it.
So what would happen where the bid is more than 15% over, or is it less than 15% under? Would they have, if all the bids are like that, all the offers are like that, would they have to re-tender or adjust their budget and re-tender?
Now, in cases like that, let me begin with the under budget, when it is far below the budget.
Okay.
Now, the institution can engage the contractors or suppliers to find out why it's been grossly under budgeted, and there are possibilities. For example, when there is a procurement at a certain place like Basse, and the bidding is done at a time when there is a contractor who already have all materials mobilized to Basse and the like, and is on the ground. But that is just an example. So in this case, that supplier may not need any resource mobilization again because the materials are already there. So in cases like that, that particular contractor or supplier may bid far below than what is expected. So in cases like that, that supplier can be considered.
So in cases like that, you said one supplier. Would it be the case where there are several suppliers and they've all bidded under the far below the budget amount and the 15%? So would they contact all the suppliers?
Yes, they can contact all of them.
Okay.
To find out why.
And where it's over?
When it is over, like I said, here we are talking about the budget. Is it the budget or the bidders? If it is far above, then the question is whether the institution can afford. Now, if so, based on the estimated budget, where is the extra funding coming from? So these are the kind of questions that, now remember that I said the market, the estimate, what we have on the budget is always an estimate. It's also possible that the procuring organization might not have conducted adequate market research to establish prices. We have seen instances where now when bidding is done, you have an estimate, and almost all the bidders will speak the same language, that it is far above the budgeted. So in cases like that, the procuring organization can revisit the budget and can even go back to the market and find out what the prevailing market price is.
But they would not, so they would not disqualify, say there are 5 bidders, they would not disqualify some because they're far above the budget. And
now,
then,
at that stage, it depends on the decision is entirely in the hands of the contracts committee. If they establish that the prices are far above what is expected and that they cannot have the resources, they have the choice to make a decision.
So what I'm saying is, the decision that they make would have to be level for all the bidders?
Yes.
Okay. Chairperson, I
Yes,
think you had a
yes.
question.
Mr. Sanyang, we have seen throughout last week, we have seen in the analysis that we are doing with respect to the files that we have from your office, the contracts that are under review, there is nothing mentioned on the fact that these were entailed in their procurement plans and whether reference is made to the fact that this was contained in their budgets. My question here is that during the course of your reviews, have you realized that the POs, the procuring organizations, are always dealing in projects that are neither contained in their procurement plans or in their budgets? And if so, why are they engaged in such activities?
Are you saying that we discovered that most of the activities?
No, you did not discover. What we discovered here
Yes.
with you guys
Yes.
is that these projects, reference is not made to the fact that they are contained in their procurement plans. And reference is not made for us to know that this is budgeted for this particular financial year, for them to engage in that activity. We have seen that because we did not have any information or clue as to that effect. So I said, my question now is, why is it that POs are engaging in activities that they did not plan for, which is not in their procurement plans, and which is not also budgeted for, because most of them did not even submit budgets to you to show that this is what the activity of the year is going to be?
Actually,
and even if they submit, some of these activities we are reviewing is not contained in those budgets.
Actually, I think that concern was also raised during our last sitting, and assignment was given to find out about the procurement plan, which I did. But even this morning, while I was there, I make a follow-up call for me to be provided with 2019 to 2018 procurement plans.
2018 to 2023.
Sorry, 2018 to 2023 procurement plans. I am not sure, but hopefully before we break, I will receive the information and provide it to you accordingly. But then for us, in most cases, these are all things that we look at when institutions submit their procurements to us. And on some of the forms, it must be indicated whether the procurement is planned for or not, in most cases.
Which form is that?
Like on Form 100, where the Director of Finance will indicate the availability, funding availability. And if the Director of Planning or Director responsible for finances indicate that funding is available, this means that it's been budgeted for.
Are you sure?
We will not go there to verify, but will entirely depend on the information provided to us. And we assume that if funding is not provided or available for any procurement to take effect, that institution will not indicate, or the finance, in fact, that is why the finance director is there to indicate that funding is available for what they intend to do.
But Mr. Sanya, we have seen situations where the PO, particularly KMC, has said that it will depend on bidders to finance the project, and it will be at no cost to the institution. You remember when we highlighted a particular project which they say they will use their assets? Yes. So in that instance, what you are saying wouldn't stand, because this is a situation where they have come up with a project which they do not have funds for, and in any case they said they will tie up their assets to providing the counterpart funding or whatever form of funding they need to provide to get the funds they want. But my take is that would POs be continually be allowed to do projects at their whims and caprices, you understand, without really planning for it, or including this thing in their budgets, so that at least the reviewing authority can have a proper insight as to, you understand, where the funds are coming from, and will be very clear as to how they intend to fund that project.
Good. Now, the finance director indicating that funding is available should also proceed to indicate the source of funding. And it's not always the case that when it is indicated that funding is available means the money is there. The important thing is whether the money is ready-madely there or not, but the important thing is to indicate where funding is coming from. And in the bidding document, there is a portion which will request the funding source. Where is the funding coming from? And here we expect them to, even if there is no money, this is when they will indicate the payment plans. Sometimes money will not be there at all, but in the payment plans, they will tell that it's going to be on installment or pre-financing and so on. And pre-financing here means that probably you don't even have the funding, that the contractor must provide all what it takes, and then the institution will also see how to fulfill its obligation. So here, the most important thing is, yes, it is budgeted, whether budgeted for. It can even be budgeted for, but the source of funding must be indicated. Yes, budgeted for, but where is the money coming from? It should be indicated.
So is that captured in Form 100, which is the requisition form?
Well, I am not very sure how it is captured, but I know that in a bidding document, there is a question that will ask where the funding is coming from and how you think payments should be done. Should be clearly indicated in the payment plan.
My take is that before you come to the stage of bidding for any goods or service, you would have already planned that this is the activity that you want to venture into before you start thinking of putting bidding documents together. So when I asked you, you said in Form 100, you understand, they will indicate, the finance director will indicate whether they have the money or not. And you have explained, if I could get you, indicating that you have the finance is not sufficient. You must be able to indicate where the source of funds are coming from, which is perhaps more detailed than just stating that you have the funds to execute the project. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Council, can you proceed?
Thank you. So, Mr. Sanya, I refer you to page 2 of the meeting minutes. Now, they have a bid evaluation table, and on the table, they have different columns for admin compliance. So there's bid form, business registration, bid security, GPPA registration, specs, bid price, and remark. Have you seen the table?
Again, on the minutes of...
On that same minutes, 28th February 2022,
28th February.
at the second page, page 2.
Yes, yes.
You've seen the table?
I have seen it, yes.
Okay, so the ones that complied were ticked, and the ones that did not comply were marked X.
Yes.
Okay, so you have under Tarbis did not comply with the bid form
Yes.
and were X. Sonkajilang did not comply with the business registration and were ticked X. Those were the only two that had non-compliance issues, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they have said that on compliance, members were satisfied that many got their papers right, with the exception of few as seen above. The prices offered by Two Nets and Lobsan were higher than what council budgeted for, and they put $5,500,000 in brackets. Now, Two Nets bid price was $7,695,575. Lobsan Enterprises bid price was $7,945,500. This is all for lot 1. Tarbi's bid price was $4,702,000. Julaba Trading, $4,970,000. Sonko Jileng, $5,666,000. And Adonis Suppliers, $5,200,500. Now, they have said that Sonko Jileng and Adonis Suppliers amounts, which caters for only lot 1, exceeded the council's budgeted amount for all lots. Notwithstanding, members discussed and agreed that their prices for furniture seemed flexible and various types were offered. As a result, members agreed that they be shortlisted and invited for further clarifications. Julaba Trading also offered favorable prices, which were also slightly below the council's budget and were shortlisted, having submitted all their documents. Tabis didn't submit a bid form, thus qualified. Following the evaluation, the following suppliers were shortlisted for Lot 1: Julaba Trading, Sonko Jileng Enterprise, and Adonis Suppliers. Now, you note that Sonko Jileng did not provide a business registration.
Yes.
And they were shortlisted. Tabis did not provide a bid form, and they were disqualified.
Correct.
Is that proper?
Yes, it is proper.
Can you tell us why?
Now, according to the law, if a bid form is not signed, that particular contractor should be disqualified for failing, either not submitting or even not signing a bid form.
Okay.
That should be disqualified. Now,
Mr. Sanyang, hold on. Is it a requirement by the law and is mandatory under the provisions of the law?
yes.
Can you refer us to the legislation?
Yes, I'll find out. Not now, because
right,
I don't
thank you.
think I can. Bid form, okay. Okay, now for the business registration, that is registration with GPP. Now,
No, there's registration with GPPA separate from business registration.
business registration. Actually, for us, before you register with GPPA, you must have presented all these documents. So I don't even know how the guy got registration with GPPA without the business registration. We have to find out.
So
but
I
then for us, as far as procurement is concerned, we are more concerned with the registration with GPPA because the business registration is a prerequisite for GPPA registration. So I was taking it to be GPPA registration, which at that time, as per the past documents, like the past act and regulation, registration is an award criteria that you can bid and then ensure that you are registered with GPPA. But since this is not talking about GPPA registration, that we have to make clarification. Because like I said, they should not even have the GPPA registration without the business registration. So we have to find out.
So that is at your level, right? When the procuring organizations are having their tender process, they will ask for what they require. And usually it's these ones. So they would ask for the bid form to be completed and signed, business registration, proof of business registration to be attached, bid security to be attached, GPPA registration certificate to be attached, etc. Is that right?
Yes.
So this would be for them. So whether the person registered or not, it is for them to provide, as in it is the bidder's obligation to provide proof of all of these.
Yes.
So even if they're registered and they haven't provided it to the procuring organization, they would likely be disqualified because the procuring organization is not going to go behind and ask for that.
No.
Right? So my question is based on that. So on the basis of this, they have marked Sonko Jileng as non-compliant, and they have marked Tarbiz as non-compliant. Now, would it be fair to shortlist one non-compliant bidder and disqualify another non-compliant bidder?
In GPPA,
in procurement proceedings?
at GPPA level,
Not for GPPA, for the procuring organization.
I am referring to what we look at GPPA because it's based on the submission. So what I am saying is, at our level, when a submission is done, what we look at are as follows. We are not very much concerned with the GPPA registration, sorry, the business registration, simply because what we concentrate on is the GPPA registration. That is what we look for because the GPPA, the business registration is a prerequisite for GPPA registration. So if you provide a GPPA registration, we assume that you have already have a business registration.
So we're not talking about GPPA procedures. We're talking about the procurement proceedings that we're currently looking at. And we're talking about disqualification of bidders based on non-compliance. So it is based on the non-compliance. I'm asking you, looking at what I'm looking at as well, is it fair under procurement to disqualify one bidder for non-compliance and then shortlist another bidder who's also been non-compliant? Is that fair treatment to both?
It depends on what you are looking for.
So these items that they have listed, you already said that these would be what the procuring organization is requesting that the bidder provide.
Now,
Is that right or not?
Let me give you an example.
Please, let's deal with it one step at a time. Are these what the procuring organization would require the bidders to provide? And then you can give the examples. It's either yes or no, or you don't know.
This answer cannot be a simple yes or no, because it depends on the circumstances.
Looking at the table,
You are looking at a yes or a no.
I said yes, no, or you don't know. So looking at the table,
Looking at the table,
are these the requirements of the procuring organization for bid evaluation? Bid form, business registration, bid security, GPPA registration, and the specifications and the bid price.
so you are saying that with an X, it means that
You already
particular
agreed to that
institute-
one. I'm
Pardon?
asking, you already agreed that those meant that they were disqualified. They were non-compliant, sorry.
They are non-compliant to that particular
Agreed.
requirement.
You've already said that. So I'm asking you now, again. These items that have been listed on the top of the table, the one that you're not looking at, on the
Yes.
top of the table, are these the requirements of the PO in respect of what should be provided? The table says bid evaluation, admin compliance, and it's provided the columns. It puts the supplier name, it puts bid form, business registration, bid security, GPPA registration, specifications, and bid price. Are these what are required to be provided?
At the level of the procuring
Yes.
organization. Yes.
Okay. So you've already said that where there's an X, it shows that there's non-compliance.
To that particular,
that particular-
requirement
yes.
At the level of the
Yes,
procuring
we're talking about the
organization.
procuring organization.
Yes.
So Tarbis did not comply with the bid form requirement.
Yes.
You agreed. Sonko Jileng did not comply with the business registration requirement. You agreed. Now your argument is that you don't see how they could not have, it could be that they
business.
didn't register their business when they have GPPA registration.
Correct.
So I'm saying that is at your level.
Yes.
Just because they're non-compliant here does not mean that they're not registered. They could be registered, but maybe they didn't provide their registration certificate. So that would make them non-compliant.
Correct.
So that's what I've been trying to get to. So now, they're not compliant with business registration. Tabis is not compliant with bid form. Is it fair to disqualify one for non-compliance and allow another one to proceed, even though they're also non-compliant? It doesn't matter what they're non-compliant to. But in terms of the evaluation, they've both been marked as non-compliant with something.
What you are telling me is like at the procuring organization level.
Yes.
Good. At their level, they may say that for the bid
Mr.
business.
Sanyang. No, Mr. Sanyang, I think you may not have understood what her question is. If you look at 1.6 on the minutes, it says Tabis did not submit a bid form, thus disqualified. And 1.7 says, following the evaluation, the following suppliers were shortlisted for lot 1. And her question is, at the level of the PO, was it correct for them to have shortlisted Sonko Jilen, even though she had some non-compliance issues with the bid evaluation?
Okay. I wanted to explain and then
No, you just
use
answered the
GPP.
question
I
first.
cannot determine because you are saying that at their level.
Yes.
So I don't know what basis, on what basis.
But looking at what is happening and being an expert, looking at what is happening, because we are not inventing anything here. Everything we are saying or doing is based on black and white and reports and records that have been provided to us, right?
And on
Yes,
okay.
just a minute. So what she is asking you is that based on this, would it have been fair for the PO to have shortlisted one person and disqualify the other person? That's simplicity, the question.
I cannot determine, and unless you allow
That is,
me to
that is a
explain.
fair question we can take. If you cannot determine that, that's a fair question, and then we can proceed. Council, can you please proceed?
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
So, okay, 1.8, they've gone on to say, members, in order to ensure that those shortlisted have the furniture or the samples in their stores or showrooms, agreed that a visit be arranged to allow them to see firsthand the furniture they were offering. To that effect, members agreed that the aforementioned suppliers be invited to a meeting on Thursday, 3rd March 2022, at 10 a.m. onwards to give further information and also to negotiate on the furniture they want to supply. Now, is it usual for the PO to, at this stage, make it a condition to go and visit the showrooms? Is this something that would have to be in the bidding documents?
Well, to visit the showroom, where is it?
1.8, 1.9,
Members
and 1.10.
Yes, for 1.8, it is not wrong.
So they can, it doesn't have to be in the bidding documents that they would be visiting the showrooms.
Well, at this stage, they can decide that they want to conduct due diligence to confirm that what they have indicated in the bidding in their offers is exactly what they have. It's not wrong.
Okay. Now, 1.1, it says for lot 2, 4 companies bidded, but only 3 of them complied in providing all required documents. The 4th was disqualified. Now, you have, the suppliers are 2Nets GM with a bid amount of $1,408,725. 2 is Timber & Co. Limited with a bid amount of $1,221,500. Lobster with a bid amount of $1,518,000, and MP Trading with a bid amount of $970,000. Now you will note that both Timber & Co. and Lobster did not provide business registration, and Timber & Co. also did not provide GPPA regulations. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so it says all the bidders were found to have submitted the relevant documents except 2Nets and Lobster as seen below. In terms, actually that's wrong, it's supposed to be Timber & Co. In terms of pricing, MP Trading were found have a favorable price. Members agreed that MP Trading be awarded lot 2, but with the following conditions: that they enter into negotiations with the view to further reduce the price, and that the air conditioners will come with 1-year warranty. Now, this condition, is it also something that can come after the bidding process? Is it something that should have been in the bidding documents?
Negotiations.
No, that the air conditioners will come with a 1-year
Anyway,
warranty.
it should have been indicated in the bidding document.
Okay. And you note here that the 2 companies that did not provide business registrations were disqualified.
Yes.
Whereas Sonko Jileng did not provide business registration and were shortlisted. So let me refer you to the report of the site visit to the outlets of the shortlisted bidders. I'm not sure it's dated. Have you seen it? report of site visit to the outlets of the shortlisted bidders. Assistant Registrar, if you get the file, I can assist.
Sorry, yeah, because this stuff is subtitled. So my order is.
Thank you. Have you seen the document? Okay. So they're saying that the committee, during the evaluation of the furniture tender, recommended a site visit to the following locations: Sonkojileng, Adonis, Julaba Trading. Invitation letters were sent to the said mentioned bidders followed by a conducted spot visit to the respective outlets on Friday, 4th March 2022. The table below elaborates on their findings. Sonkojileng, availability, yes. Quantity, excellent. And recommendations, offer. Adonis, availability, it says not all. Quantity, good. And recommendations, reject. Julaba Trading, availability, it says third party. Quantity, it says third party. Recommendations, it says reject. Now 4 committee members were selected for the visit, and the site visit was followed by a contracts committee meeting on Monday, 7th March 2022 to finalize on the decision taken for the award of the contract. Now, I refer you to the meeting minutes of 7th March 2022.
Yes.
Now, the members of the committee that were present were Kajali Jane, Abdullah S.M. Kebe, Binta Jane Jalo, Nima Kamara, Abdullah Jane, Musaba, Usman Gay, and Shirif Njai. And it says, can you read through the evaluation of the bids for us?
The chairman said, as per their agreement, during the last meeting, a visit was conducted to the 3 identified suppliers. The team was made up of the committee advisor, director of planning, procurement manager, and the clerk. This, he emphasized, was a good move, as they have gathered vital information which they will share with the rest of the members. 1.3, the DOPD said they first visited Sonkojilen at their showroom and saw the materials they have on offer. This, he said, was exactly what they provided in the specs. She said they have all the materials set with the exception of the sofas, as only sets were available. 1.4, Sonkojilen is given 3 years guarantee and on their products. 1.5, the advisor said their products looks quality and the warranty period was very good. He expressed satisfaction in the furniture he has seen. 1.6, from Sonkojilen, the team headed to Adonis suppliers. The team was taken to the warehouse of the supplier where they saw boxes. No furniture was on display to enable members to see and feel. 1.7. Later, the team was taken to the office of the manager where a catalog was shown to the which they said were the materials in store. 1.8, the warranty period for Adonis was 1 year. 1.9, the team later visited Julaba Trading. However, they were led to 1+1 shop along Batin Hardin Highway by the bidder where they were shown furniture being sold by 1+1. 1.10, members were informed that the furniture they saw were not what they were looking for. 1.11, members attribute Julaba Trading to belonging in the briefcase vendor category and therefore do not have command of the item being supplied since it belonged to a third party. 1.12, the committee therefore agreed to the following conditions. 1.13, that Sonkojilen be offered the contract and be invited for negotiation on their bid. And 1.14, that they awarded the contract to supply the furniture.
Thank you. Now, can I just ask, where, in this instance where members of the contracts committee have gone to visit the bidders' locations individually, does this not raise a risk of corruption where the members of the contracts committee who may have influence on the outcome of the procurement get to meet the bidders individually? Is there a risk, in your opinion?
Members of the contracts committee are supposed to be people of high integrity and honest people.
So you're saying there's not a risk?
There could be a risk, but given the expectations of a member of a contracts committee that they should be honest and should be people of high integrity, probably they should have come with reality. They are not expected to be corrupt anyway, except otherwise, but they are not expected to be corrupt.
So I refer you back to the meeting minutes of 28th February.
Yes.
And to the table on page 2.
Council, I just want clarification from Mr. Sani.
Okay.
This issue about the contracts committee visiting the potential bidders, the places of business, don't you think maybe if you have any opinion about that, you can tell us. Don't you think it should have been the responsibility of the SPU to have conducted a search and know, you understand, to be able to eliminate the sort of briefcase investors, just like they have identified in Julaba in this circumstance, so that to avoid the possibility of, you know, favoring one bidder over the other, given the contact and close proximity and interaction with different bidders by the contracts committee, because the SPU, just you have explained here enormously that their responsibility is to make sure that they know what is happening in the market. So don't you think their advice during the meetings of those meetings of the contracts committee, they could lend their advice as to some of these potential bidders, you know, the potentiality of them being people that will comply with what they are looking for, or can supply or can provide the goods or services they are looking for?
Actually, market research, of course, is the responsibility of the SPU to determine prices, location, quality, and so on. The contracts committee is the final decision maker.
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
In a situation where...
Yes, that is what I'm saying. I said, would the input of the contract committee wouldn't have helped to prevent, in fact, the contracts committee going down on the ground? They could have provided the information the contract committee wants from these people.
Remember that the SPU is not the evaluators.
But they are part of the evaluators.
Yes, but the responsibility is wholly and solely in the hands or the responsibility of the contracts committee.
Yes, but they are pivotal and principal in the contracts committee, are they not?
But for the contracts committee also to conduct a due diligence is not wrong.
Okay, that's fair enough. Thank you. Council, you may proceed.
Thank you. So we're back to the table. We're back to the table on page 2. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So Sonko Jilang's bid amount is 5,666,000. Right. I need you to do a little calculation. So you said that the margin is 15% of the budget. Either above or below is acceptable.
Yes.
Now, can you check what 15% of 5,500,000 is?
Be guided.
Page 28, sorry. The meeting minutes of the 28th of February 2022 on page 2. We're looking at the table and the bid amount for Sonko Jilang.
28 February, eh?
Yes.
Thank you.
You said 15% of what?
5,500,000, which is the budgeted amount.
5,500,000. It's 5,500.
5,500, are you sure?
Yes.
Can you just check again?
Sorry, it's 825,000.
Okay. So added to... Sorry?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So added to 5,500,000. Would you say that the 5,666,000 is within that margin?
Now, what I have here is 6,325,000 as the plus 15.
So essentially, whatever amount is within that amount would be acceptable if it's over.
Yes, any amount within that is acceptable.
Okay. So let me let me refer you to the letter from KMC dated the 8th of March 2022. Where they have written to your institution seeking for approval for their awards.
Yes, 8th of March, 2022.
Okay, so they said that as per our submission and subsequent approval to open tenders for the furnishing of the KMC Town Hall, I write to inform you that bids were received and opened accordingly. The evaluation of bids was done in accordance with the evaluation criteria set forth in the tender documents. The committee, therefore, is pleased to inform you that the most responsive bid on Lot 1, furniture, was that of Sonko Jilang Enterprise, and Lot 2, air conditioners, was MP Trading. Please note that Lot 3, furnishing of the chamber, was not bidded for by any of the suppliers. We therefore submit the documentation and look forward to your approval of the 2 lots for the award of the contracts to the aforementioned suppliers. Now, in going over the documents for the evaluation of the bids, would something like the non-compliance of Sonko Jilang Enterprise in providing business registration, proof of business registration, be something that would arise, considering that other companies were disqualified for not providing the same thing, and in the other lot there was another company that was disqualified for not complying with another provision? I know the question is long, so I'm not sure if you understand what I'm saying.
It's not that long.
Okay.
What I want to say is, it's going to be the same thing that I said, that at our level, what we look at is business, a GPPA registration, which was provided.
So let me clarify, just so that we don't go back and forth again. I'm not asking about compliance on your level. So what I'm asking about is even the perception of the evaluation, right, by the PO. So where you have a situation that you have disqualified, because you said that you look at the process, right? You have a situation where you've disqualified 2 bidders because they didn't provide business registration proof. And then you have a situation where you disqualify another bidder because they didn't provide another GPPA registration, for example, right? If you, in the process, if you're disqualifying 2 bidders because they didn't provide business registration, would you not disqualify the 3rd bidder for not providing business registration proof? So I'm not talking about GPPA, I'm talking about the procuring organization and the evaluation, which is what you look at.
Yes, yes, I understand. Now, if a bidder was disqualified for not providing a business registration at the level of the procuring organization, yes, others or any other one should also be disqualified for not providing the same documents.
Because to do that would be to give an unfair advantage to the one who didn't provide over the others.
Correct.
All right, thank you. So I refer you to GPPA's letter dated the 10th of March 2022. And just let me know if you found it.
10th of March?
2022.
Yes.
Okay, so you have said, having reviewed your evaluation report, the authority hereby grants approval for the procurement of furniture and equipment for the new building to be awarded as follows. Lot 1, the procurement of furniture for the new building to be awarded to Sonkajiling Enterprise at a total amount of $5,666,000 only. Lot 2, the procurement of air conditioners for the new building, 14 pieces, 24,000 BTU, 13 pieces, 18,000 BTU, and 12 pieces, 12,000 BTU to be awarded to MP Trading at a total bid price of $970,000 only. Please note that this decision of the authority is in accordance with the powers bestowed on your contracts committee by Section 49 A, B, D, E, and F of the Gambia Public Procurement Authority Amendment Act 2018. Furthermore, the authority wishes to advise you in the future procurement of such nature, eligibility of suppliers, in brackets, site visit of suppliers, should be indicated clearly in the bidding document and to be used as an evaluation factor. Can you tell us about this and how it relates, considering that this was not in the bidding documents for this particular procurement?
Actually, according to the
answering the question, the reason you replied to me that the contracts committee going on to visit bidders is their responsibility and they have a right to do so, to do due diligence, which I said is your opinion. We will accept what you said as your evidence and as your opinion. So, but how can you relate that to what is contained here as part of your recommendation?
According to the Act, now any condition that is going to be used to evaluate bids shall be set forth in the bidding document. Now, this is a situation where a contracts committee evaluated bids. They look at the offers and then think that to make an informed decision, they must go and see by themselves to verify. We've seen instances where procuring organizations or even suppliers will say something which is not true, even if in the case of, for example, requirements. Sometimes they will clearly indicate that this is what we have. We have X, Y, and Z in terms of technical specs and the like. But the item that they are going to supply may differ. It is happening. Some of them, especially things that are in cartons, sometimes the labels will be correct, but what you have inside may differ from what is on the label. So what is wrong if a committee decides to go and verify, to make an informed decision? The fact that this should have been set forth in the bidding document, we all agree, yes. But then it is not also wrong to have or conduct a due diligence in order to make or arrive at an informed decision.
Mr. Sanyang, you may correct me if I am wrong, but here, what is being conveyed in this paragraph, to me, I may be wrong in construing what the intent of the writer is here, is that they don't think it is prudent for the contracts committee to go and do verification. I don't have a problem in them doing due diligence. But the reason why the authority realized or thought it or deemed it fit to raise this issue here, because they anticipate that there could be issues. And that is why they raised it here. And that is my point. I am not against the contracts committee doing due diligence, because you come across all of these activities. And that is why I raised the issue of the SPU. And here, if they have to raise this thing, it's because they have some concerns. And that is why they are putting it across to the PO so that they can avert their minds to it. And the fact that they did not include that in their bidding document makes it the more reason why they highlighted this. So that is my concern.
Okay.
Yes, Council.
So, let me just ask another question, a hypothetical scenario. So assuming that the procuring organization required the bidders to provide, say, like colored photographs of the items that they actually have in stock, and that's supposed to be what they're bidding for. And it comes to the contracts committee and they're able to look at the pictures and they're able to determine, because essentially that's what they're doing on the visit, right? That, okay, they have what we want, this is what we want, and they pick one. Now, if they pick one and they contract with that one, would it not be what is in those photographs that they have to deliver?
Council, I think we have seen instances where people choose wives on the pages.
People choose what, sorry?
Wives and husbands on the internet, and at the end of the day, they become wrong choices. They are not the persons that they see, actually. So here, they can go to somewhere and take photos of something and present that.
So what I'm asking you is, if they've contracted for what is in those photos, would it be what is in those photos that have to be delivered?
That is what should be delivered. But
okay.
You can also go and verify whether exactly what you have on the photos are the right things.
So what happens where what they have in the office and what they have in their store, which perhaps is not what you visited, but what they're supplying is what's in the store, and it's not what's in their showroom?
They should be disqualified.
Because it's not in their showroom, when that was not part of your evaluation process. It was not part of the bidding documents.
If you indicate that I have X1 and Y stored, and they went to the stores and could not find them there.
I think if you check, you see that they went to the showrooms, and I think one took them to a different showroom.
Exactly.
Another,
That is Julaba.
yes, to another entity, and the other one had them in cartons. So they could not view the items because they were in cartons. How do you know that they're not in the cartons? I mean, if you had maybe made it a requirement in the bidding documents, everybody would prepare for that.
Usually, sometimes, yes, the fact that everything should be in accordance with what the law provides for, but not everything can be put on writing. You indicated that this and this is available, and then they go there and did not find it there. They found things in cartons, which, of course, to them was provided by a third party. Is it the third party that you are talking about?
So, we're not really talking about the third party. We're talking about the one that has their items in cartons. One person has a showroom, because what if one of the bidders doesn't have a showroom? They only have a store, and they have everything in storage.
Yes.
I'm not saying that I'm not giving a situation or a scenario where there's a foolproof method. I'm just saying, hypothetically, with the scenario that I gave you about the photographs, would that also be acceptable? I mean, is it something that can be done that would still be acceptable? Because they would still have to provide what they have shown you, and if they don't, there are consequences.
Yeah, I think the mission, the reason for visiting is to verify. So if something is in the carton, obviously, they should have requested to see exactly what is there in the carton.
Thank you. I don't know whether any of the commissioners have questions.
JT? Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to say something about this inspection. Like the director said, it is okay for the contracts committee to inspect whatever they want to buy at the premises of the suppliers. But it is important. In procurement, the principles of procurement are very, very important. And they are enshrined throughout the law, which is competition, openness, fairness, and transparency, value for money. But I want to focus on openness, fairness, and transparency here. So it is important that this is mentioned or is in the bidding documents so that all the bidders know that inspection will be made and they can prepare for it for the sake of openness, fairness, and transparency, which is the principles of procurement. So yes, it is not wrong to visit, but it should be in the bidding document so that all are aware that this is a condition. Thank you.
This is why I believe that aptly so, the authority had to put this statement in their response to their letter, giving them approval. So now, before you proceed, I have an issue with authorizing, giving approval for Sonko Jilen to proceed on Lot 1. My issue is that if you look at the evaluation form, there are some things that were not complied with. Did the authority confirm whether, those missing documents were supplied later to give them the legibility to proceed to be the successful bidders?
Okay, now that is the evaluation form again on page what again?
Because I believe that Council has taken us through, you understand, in a detailed fashion about the evaluation form metrics that they have given and who qualified and who doesn't qualify.
Yes, we have two forms.
Yes, my question is, did you verify yes, just as authority, did you verify that before you issued this letter dated the 10th, whether the person that is awarded this contract, whether actually, she gave you a scenario where there is a possibility that the person might have forgotten to enclose the business registration. And in their metrics, they showed Sonko Jinland did not include their business registration. And you have told us clearly that for you to be given a GPPA registration is a prerequisite for you to have business registration.
Yes.
So in this instance, did you verify to confirm that everything was okay for you to grant this approval?
Okay. We have not verified. I don't think
you don't think
it was verified.
Oh.
For the business registration, I don't think so.
So you just granted the approval?
So you don't know what happened at that time.
I kept on saying that we don't know, but in order for us, we are more concentrated on the GPPA registration.
Madam Chair, we cannot say at this moment that we did not verify. Because this is 2023. This is when? So
2022.
So at the time when GPPA was approving this, they might have verified. What we can do is you can ask us to go back now and see whether it was to vouch the verification. We can do that. But at this point in time, I don't think we can say whether it was at the time they were approving it, whether the GPPA authorities verified or did not verify. We can only say they verified because they cannot approve without verification. We can assume that it must have been verified.
You can.
But we can prove that to you. by
Okay.
going back now to
yes,
look at the documents.
Please find out in your records whether, you know. And the second question is that in their contracts committee meeting, they highlighted two issues. They indicated that the supplier should provide, I think if it was the contract for MP trading, that they should provide 1 year warranty, and they should also provide if I could get back to the conditions. That they should enter into further negotiation for the 970. Can you cross-check whether the contracts committee was able to provide you information on those issues that they concluded on in their meeting, in the bid evaluation that they did on the contracts committee?
And that is their conclusion on
the contracts committee meeting minutes of the 28th of February, 2022. They made some proposals based on certain conditions. Please find out, because it's your role to verify, because these minutes are submitted to you and you look at them. So if they had placed conditionalities and exceptions, you will see them and you will ask them further questions whether these were complied with before you issue your approval. Okay. So this is in relation to the approval that you have granted, whether this contracts committee were given this 1 year warranty, 1, 2, whether further negotiations was done with respect to the price.
1 year warranty and further negotiations.
Thank you. Council, you may proceed.
I'll have the registrar give the witness KMC file 3 of 2022. Sanya, let me refer you to the GPPA form 002.
002.
Have you found it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a form for record of restricted tendering. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, the estimated value of the procurement is stated to be $25 million. It's on the column A1.
Yes, 25 million.
Okay, so where it says provide justification for use of restricted tendering, making reference to particular conditions under section 39 of GPPA 2014 satisfied. They have said to limit to only 5. Actually, would that be? Is that part of the form, or is that what they have put? The portion to limit to only 5 suppliers and the urgency. It's under the same form.
No, I have seen it. I want to look at what the procurement is even about.
So this is for the procurement of waste bins. It's on top, it says subject matter of procurement, waste bins. On the face of the form 002.
I have seen it.
Okay, so it says waste bins is the subject of procurement. Now, what I'm asking is the portion in column A2 where it says to limit to only 5 suppliers and the urgency. Is that their justification for restricted tendering, or is that part of the form?
Well, the reasons for the restricted tender, which is said to be urgency may not fulfill.
Oh, that is not the question. She is asking whether the sentence to limit to only 5 suppliers and the urgency, is that part of the form or is it their reason? Is it part of the form, that is the form 002?
No, that is not, it's part of what they have indicated.
So that's their indication of
yes,
the
their
reason.
indication of the reason for.
Thank you, because it's in the same font, so I'm not sure. So is that, has that set out sufficiently the justification for use of restricted tendering?
Urgency here may not fulfill the reasons for the use of restricted tender.
So, but
Now,
sorry,
Council, can you refer us to the legislation and read us the provision of the law that allows for restricted tender, and what are the conditions there too?
Conditions for use of restricted.
Section 39 is in the form.
39 of Reviewed Act 18.
Now, Section 39, conditions for the use of restricted tendering. Restricted tendering proceedings may be used only where A, the goods, works, consultancy services or services are only available from a limited number of bidders known to the procuring organization. B, the time and cost of considering a large number of bids is disproportionate to the value of the procurement. C, the requirement is of a specialized nature or has requirements of public safety or public security, which make an open tender method inappropriate. So that is why I said the condition, urgency there, is not a reason or a condition specified under the conditions for the use of a restricted tender.
Council, please.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we are clear that Section 39 of the Act is not complied with, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
So they have ticked the portion, excuse me, forwarding to GPPA for approval prior to inviting tenders, and this is signed on the 12th of April 2022.
Yes.
Now, let me refer you to the letter to you dated the 13th of April 2022.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, are you there? Okay. Actually, no, I apologize. Let me refer you to the Procurement Committee meeting dated the 13th April 2022 first.
April, yes.
Okay. So now, if you look at the letterhead of this meeting minutes, it is Canifing Municipal Council logo, Peterborough City Council logo, and what looks like the EU logo, right?
Correct.
And it says Canifing Environmental Transformation Program, KETP in bracket. And it says using a sustainable focus on new integrated waste management approaches to drive environmental, social, and economic transformation in Canifing. Now, are you familiar with this entity?
The
Canifing Environmental Transformation Program. Do you know whether it's a registered entity?
Now, I don't think he's referring to an entity.
Okay.
It's the name of a project being implemented by KMC, but funded by EU.
Okay. So you're saying that it's not, are you saying that it's not a registered entity? It's a project under KMC?
Correct.
Okay. So do you know how it came to be in existence?
What I know is that KMC is linking with this Peterborough city. So there is that linking relationship between KMC and this city.
Okay.
So together they came with this project, which is called the KEPT project, but funding is provided by the EU.
And how do you know this? They provided you with those details?
Pardon?
Did KMC provide you with those details?
Well, in some of their write-ups, because they have series of submissions, they will have an introduction which briefly talks about this funding, this relationship between the two cities.
Now, Council, before you proceed, so is acceptable at your level to use different letterheads when they want to seek approval from your authority as a public institution?
But it is not...
No, I'm just asking whether it's acceptable by your institution.
We have no objection to
Thank you.
things
That
like
is all I wanted to know. Council, you may proceed.
Thank you. So you were saying that they provided you this information?
Pardon?
You said they provided you this information in their write-ups?
What I'm saying is, this submission together with all other submissions, sometimes they will have an introductory sort of write-up where the relationship between these two cities will be briefly explained. So that is where I know that this is a funding, a linking relationship between KMC and this city.
Okay. Now, so you said that it's a project. You're aware that it's a project.
It's a project, yes.
Now, what is GPPA's relation to projects under the Act? So, to give context, the Act provides for procuring organizations, and GPPA is supposed to regulate procurements for procuring organizations. So what is the linkage between a project under a council, because the council is a procuring organization. So what is the linkage between a project that you have said is under a council and GPPA?
According to the Act, the scope of application for the GPPA is all public funds. And here, these are public funds, and we think that it should be subjected to GPPA review.
And who is the custodian of the public funds?
KMC in this case.
Right. But it is not KMC that you're dealing with in this case. It is a project.
Yes, it's a project under KMC.
Okay. So I'll just refer you as, sorry.
To me, I'm not clear. I'm not clear about how you interlink you as an authority with projects that are under the PO, whose finances are being financed by other institutions. That is what I want you to make clear for us. The reason is that on this letterhead, the transactions that is being conveyed in this is captured under a different letterhead from the normal letterhead that KMC uses in addressing its procurement issues to you. And that has significance, and that is why I am asking.
Sorry.
Is that a question? Is that a question?
Sorry, if you can answer the question, you are free to do so, DG. Thank you.
Now the question is like why this submission is on a letter which contains different letterheads. That is the question. Now here we are looking at the submission as coming to GPPA from KMC. But we assume that KMC is showing that this project, they have other partners as far as this project is concerned. But the implementation is done by KMC.
That's why you said before these submissions, they would have given you a background to give you a context as to the activities, right?
Yes.
So can you provide us with the background information that was supplied to you to give you context? The reason being that is why we are asking this question. If we had seen the supporting documents, we may not have asked the questions we are asking.
Okay, I will provide.
Yes, please note and provide for us. Council, you may proceed.
Thank you. Okay, so we look at the meeting description. It says procurement committee meeting for review and validate of procurement bid document for waste bin with wheels. Now the act refers to contracts committee. It does not refer to a procurement committee. Can you tell us whether it's the contracts committee that the project has or a procurement committee? Or whether they're the same thing in your expert opinion?
Can I know where exactly you are?
Right underneath the letterhead.
Okay,
You have meeting description, and it says procurement committee meeting for review and validate of procurement bid document for waste bin with wheels.
I think here the procurement committee is referring to the contracts committee
Of KMC.
of KMC.
Now,
Can you-
why would you think that? Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
yes. That is
Why would you think that?
Sorry, I think it's the otherwise. It's the other way.
Which is?
The procurement committee instead of the contracts committee, because according to the Act, the members for the contracts committee are clearly indicated.
Okay.
And this is supposed to be the CEO, the director of finance, and the procurement officer.
Okay.
Okay. But if you look at the list, here we are seeing Aleunyang, who is the project director. You have Lamin S. Sanyang, project manager. Ablai Jane, admin and the procurement officer. Dudu Jallo, and so on. So here, it means that a special committee is being established purposely for this particular project.
Being established by whom?
Pardon?
Being established by whom?
By maybe KMC.
Is this something that you know for a fact?
Pardon?
Is this something that you know for a fact?
No, I am not sure. I am not sure. I'm looking at the list, the names in the list, compared to what the law provides for as members of the contracts committee.
So in this situation where you know that KMC has a contracts committee and they have sent you, well, at least we don't know whether it's KMC that sent it or it's the project. It says the project. So say the project has sent you meeting minutes of their procurement committee and you've perhaps been familiar with the usual contracts committee members when they send you their documents. Now, would your authority request details as to how this committee was set up? Because if you remember, when you had the compliance reviews, you keep going on about the members of the committee not being appointed formally. Now, did your authority request for proof of appointment for these members?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes, and further to that question, Mr. Sanyang, did your institution raise concern that pursuant to the law, what is supposed to be in place is a contracts committee, but not a procurement committee, for them to be in compliance with your legislation, regardless of who is sponsoring what, right? Did you raise that issue to them?
This has been a long time and I cannot remember. But what the law says is when there is a conflict between a donor rule and the national rule, the donor rule remains.
The what?
Now, the donor rule remains. So projects like this will, of course, have their own agreements where they may decide to even form or appoint a director for that particular a project manager and so on, all other positions. So in their agreement, remember that it is a linking arrangement between the two cities. So if they agree that to implement projects, there must be a committee set. A project manager should be appointed, a director or whatsoever to be appointed. Obviously, they will go by the agreement because the funding is coming from a different institution. So here I am not saying that that is what exists. What I wanted to point to you is there are two different organizations. So you have the funding coming from outside, although coming for the Gambian people, but funding is coming from outside. So it's likely that they must have their own financial agreements.
So would it not be your duty to verify this?
That is why I said it's been a long time until, because apart from the write-ups and the like, I am not saying that it is existing, but we also have series of meetings with KMC management. I cannot remember whether this was discussed at a meeting or the like. I cannot remember. But I will find out.
It is, so just to be clear, it would not just be whether it was discussed, it would have to be whether you have documentation establishing these facts.
Actually, again, I cannot confirm here, but in most of our meetings, we generate minutes.
The minutes would prove what? The agreement
Now,
between the
if-
donor funder?
If a meeting was held purposely to discuss on these issues and minutes were generated, the minutes will explain, because they will explain the relationship, and some of their agreements will be discussed during that meeting. But again, I am not saying that it happened.
So where agreements are discussed during the meeting, how do you verify the contents of those agreements?
Madam Chair, can I
Yes, yes, you can.
intervene here? Madam Chair and Council, we will refer to the document to see whether there was an agreed document between the donor institution and KMC. The agreement cannot be in the minutes. It has to be a written document between the two institutions. Whatever is contained in there, that's what the agreement is, not on the basis of the minutes. So please allow us to search for that document and present it to the
Yes.
to the Commission.
Yes. My take is that for the purposes of consistency, because Director has just told us that where there is a conflict between a donor, whether it is regulation,
rule and,
donor
national-
rule or
and
regulation
national
or
rules,
whatever, against a national law, it is the donor rule that would supersede. We will want to see those documentation, because I believe that where you are being supported, where a donor supports a country, it should be able to respect their laws when it comes to issues like this, because this authority, this is a universal law. GPPA is not for Gambia, it's a universal law, because you go anywhere, that's the basic principle you find everywhere. So we will want to see where the contract emanates from and where it is the applicable rule that have been used to exempt them from complying with your law, because this is exempting the PO from complying with your rule, with your laws.
Certainly, certainly, exactly. We are speaking the same thing. So yes,
and just to be
yes.
just to be guided, because
Yes.
if you contract with any donor partner, it is you as an authority to provide the legislation that you deal with, so that where there is a give and take, they should be able to respect your laws. That is my take.
Yes.
Yes.
The director is right. It is
Yes.
provided in the law.
Yes.
To that effect, we'll provide that.
Okay.
And also we'll search for the agreement if there is.
Yes.
If there is not, also we'll still report to the Commission that
Thank you so
this is
much.
the situation.
Council, you may
So
proceed.
I'm going to refer to, I think the provision that you're talking about, Director, is section 24.
Of the
20, yes, 20 sub 4 of the Public Procurement Act. And it reads, where a provision of this act conflicts with the procurement rules of a donor or funding agency, the application of which is mandatory pursuant to an obligation entered into by the government, the requirements of the rules shall prevail.
20,
So,
is it 20? you
20
said?
sub 4.
Okay.
So a cursory reading of this would indicate that it has to be because there's an obligation entered into by the government with that donor funding, with that donor or funding agency, and that's when this would kick in. So the agreement would indicate whether government actually has entered into an obligation with the donor, and then it would apply to the local government authority. So we would await those documents so that we can verify these issues.
Thank you, Council, for referring to the law. So the law is okay on that. What we will provide now is what we will search now with the view to provide to the Commission is the document,
Yes.
the agreement.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because this would have, they must have made reference to a particular clause that the government has signed to warrant them to have non-compliance of the rules of your institution. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the attendance list shows Alunyang as project director, Lamin S. Sanyang, project manager, Abdullah Jane, admin and procurement officer, Dudu Jalo, project officer 1, Bakari Diba, project accountant, Mohamed Lamin Fatajo, project officer 3, Babukar C, project officer com, and Buba Jadama, project officer 2. It says the meeting proceeded with the following agenda items: review minutes of previous meeting, review the bidding documents for the procurement of 15,000 waste bins, and any other business. And it says the meeting started and was chaired by the project manager, who thanked the committee members for attending the meeting. He highlighted the need for thorough scrutiny of the bidding documents. The adoption of the agenda was proposed and was seconded. Now, under 2.0, which is review the bidding documents for the procurement of 15,000 waste bins. It said include the reference number as KETP/ADM/RT/K002/2022 on page 15 under captioned bid data sheet. Include among the evaluation criteria GPPA certificate on page 17 under captioned. Delivery schedule in months from date of notice of award should be 2 weeks after award of contract, not 1 month. Increase the number of waste bins from 7,500 to 15,000. Change of the opening of the date of the bidding to 6. I think they meant to say from 6th to 9th May 2022. And under any other business, they said that the committee discussed and agreed to shorten the bidding period to 2 weeks. The committee tasked project manager to request for the approval of 2 weeks for the bidding period from GPPA. Is what I read a reflection of what's in the minutes? Mr. Sanya?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I refer you to the letter dated 13th April 2022, where they're seeking approval from your institution. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, so previously we've talked about how the decision of the contracts committee in respect of the procurement should be reflected in the requisition documents that they send to you. Is that right? Mr. Sanya?
Yes.
Okay. So what happens if there's a discrepancy between the contract committee meeting minutes as to what should happen in the procurement and the requisition documents? Would the authority send it back and request an amendment, or for them to provide the right position?
Actually, if there is a discrepancy, we should sought clarifications.
Okay. So in this letter, it says Canifing Environmental Transformation Project, KETP, is a flagship project for the Canifing Municipal Council, KMC, in partnership with Peterborough City Council, PCC, in the United Kingdom, and Opportunity Peterborough. The 3-year-long project is funded by the European Union and aims to use a sustainable focus on new integrated waste management approaches to drive environmental, social, and economic transformation in Canifing municipality in the Gambia. The project intends to procure 10,000 wheelie bins to be distributed to the residents to enhance waste collection from businesses and households to replace the unhygienic rice bags used by most residents. In view of the above, we herein submit bidding documents for the purchase of 10,000 wheelie bins for your approval. I would also like to solicit your approval to shorten the bidding period from 1 month to 2 weeks. We look forward to your collaboration. So now this letter is dated the 13th, and it's the same date. Let me just check. is the same date as the meeting minutes for the procurement committee, and the procurement committee has specifically agreed to increase the number of waste bins from 7,500 to 15,000. Now, the letter that is seeking approval sent to your office, which is also dated the same date, is saying that the project intends to procure 10,000 waste bins. Now, what would happen in this instance? Would you send it back and seek for clarification?
Yes, I think we should have make clarifications, but then here I think we entirely depend on the write-up, which we assume is the final agreement between the or the final thing that they wanted to do.
But the final thing is based on, it has to be based on what the contracts committee has stated. The letter cannot supersede the decision of the contracts committee. Is that right?
Yes.
So it would have to be what the contracts committee has agreed to procure that can be procured.
Actually, yes.
So if the contracts committee changed their mind and said they wanted 10,000 wheelie bins, they should have had meeting minutes to reflect that.
Yes.
Okay. So let me refer you to your letter dated the 14th April 2022, written to the Project Director, Canifing Environment Transformation Program, Canifing Municipal Council. Have you found it?
Yes.
Okay. So you said that you referred to the letter dated 13th April relative to the above subject matter. Following carefully review of your submission, I hereby convey the authority's approval to your bidding document and your request for the shortening of the bidding period to 2 weeks for the procurement of 10,000 wheelie bins to be distributed to the residents to enhance waste collection from business and households to replace the unhygienic rice bags used by most residents. Please be reminded that 60% of the sales of the bidding document shall be paid to the authority when submitting your evaluation report. We thank you for your understanding and cooperation and avail ourselves for further guidance on your procurements. Now, your authority has approved the procurement, and the method was restricted tendering, and you also approved the shortening of the bidding period. Now, please confirm, there was no Form 100 attached to any of the applications in there?
I think I show a Form 100. Let me confirm.
Okay, please check.
Yes, there is a Form 100 before the Form 002.
Okay, then I stand corrected. Now, as you had said previously, there's no sufficient justification for the use of restricted tendering.
Please cancel. Can you confirm? Because I won't see in Form 100.
So I would have to get the file.
Can Registrar, can you give it to Council to confirm?
Yes, Chairperson, there's a Form 100.
Thank
Now, in the Form 100, under the portion that says whether the funds are available, there's no indication that funds are available. Is that right?
Yes, there is no indication.
Okay. But it's signed by the budget officer. It's signed by. Can you tell us who it's signed by?
Under the user department, you have Ablai Jane, admin and procurement officer. Under confirmation of funding, Bakari Diba. Something officer is not very clear. And on the approval to the procurement, approval to proceed with the procurement, accounting officer. We have Lamin S. Sanyang, project manager.
Now, assuming that this is a procuring organization as envisioned under the Act, and the procurement committee is a contracts committee as envisioned under the Act, would the accounting officer not be the project director rather than the project manager?
Again, this will be determined by the agreement between the two linking organizations.
So usually in the rankings, is the director above the manager?
Which rankings?
Any ranking official would. So your director is there, and you're a director as well, but you're a director of what?
Policy.
Policy, and he's the director general.
Yes.
So, do you have managers?
Yes.
And are you senior to the managers?
Yes.
Okay, so like that, generally, within our jurisdiction, are the directors not senior to the managers? Generally, I'm not saying specifically.
Generally, yes.
So, if we were to apply the general position to this scenario, would the director not be senior to the manager?
Yes, if it is applicable.
But you're saying you would have to verify from the agreement.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, let me refer you to the KATP letter addressed to your office dated the 19th of April 2022. They have said that as part of the submission of companies for restricted tender for wheelie waste bins, as part of the procurement process for the procurement of wheelie waste bins submitted for your approval, I herein submit to your humble office the names of the companies that are identified for restricted tender: SKS Trading, Narrow Company Limited, MP Trading Company Limited, Jarama, and Tarbiz. We look forward to your collaboration. Did you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, they also have, I'm not sure what this would be called, but it's like the invitation that's sent to the bidders that have been listed. It's a Gambia Public Procurement Authority document. So it's basically saying, dear sir, madam, you are hereby invited to be a bidder in the tender described herein. The Gambia Public Procurement Act defines a tender as a type of bid, and anyone submitting a tender or other bid is known as a bidder, etc. And it's saying that the KATP program has budgeted funding for the procurement of 10,000 waste bins with wheels and intends to place a contract for the supply and delivery of these goods 2 weeks after the signing of the contract. The goods or items will be supplied and delivered at Canifing Municipal Council head office 2 weeks after signing. The program, the KATP program, now invites sealed bids from eligible bidders to supply the 10,000 waste bins. The deadline for submission of inquiries is 6th of May 2022. Interested eligible bidders can obtain further information from the Office of Admin and Procurement Officer at KMC head office. The complete set of bid documents may be purchased by interested bidders within 9th May 2022 at 12 noon for a non-refundable fee of $10,000 only. Bids must be delivered to Canifing Municipal Council at Tender Box 57 Mamadi Manjang Highway on or before 12 noon Banjul time on the 9th of May 2022 and must be accompanied by a bid security of 2%. Bids will be open in the presence of the bidders, representatives who choose to attend at 12:30 p.m. on the 9th of May 2022. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, I refer you to the bid opening of the procurement of the wheelie bins dated 9th May 2022. Actually, there's two of them. One has the name of the bidding companies that attended, and there are two names on it.
Yes,
Sorry.
before you proceed,
Okay.
the document you just read, in that document, I want Mr. Sanyang to help us understand. Paragraph 6, it indicated that a complete set of bid documents can be purchased on the 9th of May at 12 noon. And when you go to paragraph 8, it says the said bids would be opened at the same 9th of May at 12:30 p.m. And the bids would be purchased at 12 and they will be opened at 12 p.m. Can you tell us something about that?
Paragraph 6.
Yes.
A complete set of bid documents in English language may be purchased by interested bidders within 9 May 2022 at 12 noon on the submission of a written application to the above and upon payment of a non-refundable fee of $10,000. And 8, bids will be open in the presence of bidders or representatives who choose to attend at 12:30 noon on 9. Yes, on 9th of the same month, 2022, at Kanifi Municipal Council, 15 Mamadi Banyang Highway. Yes.
Yes. Is that possible?
Yes.
It's possible to buy the bid today and you submit your bid today. You buy your bid document at 12 and you come and submit your bid document at 12:30 with your bid security.
We know it may be very difficult.
No, I just want to know whether that is possible.
It's going to be very difficult.
No, my friend, Mr. Sanyang, just answer the question. You buy the bid document at 12 and you are supposed to, because somewhere at paragraph 7, you are asked to accompany that bid document with a 2% security. With a 2% security, bid security. So at 12 o'clock, you should come back for bid opening. Is that possible?
I cannot rule that. It is not possible. For me personally, to be candid, I cannot rule it out, simply because some bidders may have seen the information.
No, I'm not saying in an unusual circumstance. I'm saying giving everything being equal and being transparent, just like DG has said.
I cannot say that it is not possible.
Okay, that's fair enough. We can tell that. We can take your response. Council, you may proceed.
Thank you. So I refer you to the KETP meeting minutes. It says meeting description, bid opening for the procurement of 10,000 wheelie bins, 120 liters document. And it's dated the 9th of May 2022.
Sorry, minutes?
9th May 2022. There are two documents dated 9th May 2022. One has two names listed in the table, and the other one is the minutes that has.
Yes, 9th May.
Which one do you see?
2022. I have seen a list.
The one with 2 or 14? How many people are on that list?
About 13.
Okay, so
Sorry, it continue on the other page, about 17. But the
dated 9th May.
Yes, 9th May 2022. And I have another table with only 2 names.
Okay, can you read out the 2 names?
Omar Jete, MP Trading,
Okay.
and the other one, Tabis.
And these are the names of the representatives of, or the names of the bidding companies, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the one with the other names,
This one is bid opening of the procurement of the Willy beans.
okay. Hang on 1 second. Okay. And it's dated 9th May 2022.
Correct.
And the location is KMC Committee Room 1.
Correct.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Committee room.
Committee, so I have Committee Room 1.
I have committee room.
Assistant Registrar, can you lend me the file? Let me check that we're looking at the same things.
Yeah.
So this is another one dated 9th May 2022. Is that right?
Yes.
And it has 14 names listed.
Yes.
And the location is KMC Committee Room 1.
Yes.
Okay, so in attendance you have Aliu Nyang, Project Director, Lamin S. Sanyang, Project Manager, Abdullah Jane, Procurement Officer, Dudu Jalo, Bakari Diba, Mohamed Lamin Fatajo, Babukar C, Ndenyima Kamara, Kajali Jane, DCEO, Buba Jadama, Abdullah Kebe, Expert, Burang Kongira, GPPA, Musa Sane, GPPA, and Sira Kamara, GPPA. Now the other bid opening minutes that we have seen, actually all the other ones that we've gone through, we've only had 1 GPPA representative present at the bid openings. Why would you have 3 present at this one?
Why do we have
3 representatives present
representatives.
instead of the 1 that you usually provide to KMC?
Actually, I'm not sure why. I cannot determine why 3 people were sent for this particular.
Is this something that you can find out? As in, who makes the decision to send them?
Council, I don't think he understands.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to note it down, then I'll ask again. So I was asking, who makes the decision from your authority to send observers to bid openings?
The Director of Compliance.
That would be Mr. Tambura?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so going through the minutes, they've said that the meeting began at 12:30 with usual prayers. The main agenda is the opening of the bid submitted by the bidders, etc. Now, bid opening. The chairperson requested the procurement and admin officer of the project to open the bids and highlight the bidding security, bid price, and validity period of each bidder. Only 2 bidders submitted and were present at the bid opening, namely MP Trading excuse me, and Tarbiz Quality. The bid opening was very transparent. Closing remarks. The chairman thanked GPPA for their guidance and support during the process. Members of Procurement Committee were informed of the date for the evaluation of the bidding document, which is slated for 9th May 2022 at the committee room 1. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, let me refer you to their bid evaluation documents. So they have individual bid evaluations. Have you seen them?
Bid evaluation.
There's a table, or there are several tables, but all containing about the same thing, and they're signed at the bottom by, assuming the person who's carrying out the evaluation. So you have one that's signed by Abdullah Jane, one that's signed by Lamin S. Sanyang, Buba Jadama. There are several. So you can just pick anyone, really.
Okay.
Now, have you decided?
Yes, I have chosen one.
Okay.
The
Now-
one without, there is one without a signature anyway.
Okay. So, okay. Previously, you had said that GPPA has its own, well, it has the bid evaluation form, which the procuring organizations are mandated to use when evaluating their bids, right?
Yes.
Now, this is not the bid evaluation form provided by GPPA, is that right?
Correct.
And the one that GPPA provides has maybe upwards of 12 pages. This one is a table on 1 page.
Correct.
Okay. And the GPPA bid evaluation document usually contains information about like the date on which the invitation to the bidders was sent. And it would also state whether there was a publication and where it was published. Right? And it would list the persons, like in this instance where it's restricted tender, it would list the persons that they invited to bid. Is that yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And there's provisions for input on the technical evaluation as well as the suggested award. Okay. Now, does this form contain the information that we've just gone through? That's usually on the GPPA evaluation form.
Not all.
Not all. Which ones would you say is contained in the GPPA form out of the ones that we just went through? So we said the date that the invitation to the bidders was sent. We said whether it was published. We said the list of the persons invited to bid. We said the details of the technical evaluation and the suggested award.
Correct.
Does this contain those information?
This other one, contain the company's name as well as the other one?
It does not contain the name of all the ones that were invited to bid.
Yes.
It only contains the names of those that actually bid.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So here they have listed MP Trading, and they have said that they complied with the bid form, complied with bid security, and complied with GPPA clearance, and the remark says passed. They've said Tarby's quality, complied with bid form, complied with bid security, and complied with GPPA clearance, and the remark is also passed. Then where it comes to the bid evaluation, it says MP Trading, bid unit price is 1,800 and the quantity is 10,000, so the total amount is $18 million. And remarks, they have said bid higher. Tarby's quality, 10,000 units, bid unit price 1,750, and the total is $17,500,000, and the remark is selected by the committee. All right? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now let me take you to the meeting minutes for the evaluation of the bidding documents, which is dated 10th May 2022. And I just want to point out that the meeting minutes for the 9th May, for the bid opening, they had said that the bid evaluation would be 9th May 2022. But the bid evaluation meeting minutes is showing that it was actually on the 10th May 2022. Does that discrepancy matter? Or would there have to be, these meeting minutes have to indicate why the bid evaluation date was actually changed?
Actually, I cannot determine here, but I think, bid opening is just a short period.
Yes.
And from the bid opening, the committee may decide to proceed with a short meeting. I'm not very sure. To proceed with a short meeting on the same day. Mm-hmm. And then it is not impossible anyway.
Yes, so from that minutes, you will see that they said bid evaluation will be conducted on the same date, 9th of May, 2022. Yes, exactly. But now you have the minutes from the bid evaluation, which is shown to be dated the 10th of May, 2022.
Yeah. What I am saying is, I'm not very sure because we can verify, but what I am saying is, probably from the bid opening on the same day, the committee may meet briefly and discuss and agree to adjourn the bid evaluation to the next day, which is the 10th.
So what I'm trying to get clarification on is that when they do that, they would also have the minutes to indicate that this is what they decided.
Exactly. It could have been captured in the, should have been also captured in the right
minutes. So this 10th May 2022, the location is KMC Committee Room 1, and the attendance list is contained. So you have Aliou Nyang, Lamin S. Sanyang, Abdullah Jane, Dudu Jallo, Bakary Diba, Mohamed Lamin Fatajo, Babukar C, Ndeye Nyima Kamara, Kajali Jane, Buba Jadama, Abdullah Kebe. That's it. Now, they said procurement method. A restricted tender for the procurement of 10,000 wheelie bins, 120 liters, was launched, and letter of invitation to bid was sent to 4 companies. And only 2 companies submitted their bids and were evaluated by a panel of 11 members. The evaluation was conducted on the basis of fairness, impartiality, transparency, and non-discrimination among eligible candidates. Now, the invitation to bid is supposed to be sent to at least 5 companies, is that right, for restricted tender?
Correct.
So this, where they have stated that they sent it to 4 companies, that would be against GPPA regulations. Okay. So the list of bidders are set out as MP Trading, Tarby's Quality, and analysis of bids, it says deliberation, The panel deliberated on the proposals received based on the following: technical responsiveness, full compliance to requirements, and lowest price. Value for money and analysis of bids. From the above table, there's no table. All bidders were technically responsive to the specification provided in the bid document. With regards to the prices being offered, Tabit's Quality offered the best value for money in the sum of $17,500,000, whilst MP Trading on the other offered $18 million. Recommendation: in light of the above analysis, the committee found Tabit's Quality to be the suitable supplier and recommended to award a contract or purchase order worth $17,500,000 for the supply of 10,000 wheelie bins. And on the 11th of May, 2022, they wrote to your office seeking approval for the award of the contract.
Sorry, Council. Mr. Sanyan, can you provide us with the complete documents? Because on the analysis given on the value for money analysis, they refer to a table, and we cannot see any table in this document. Can you just cross-check whether, based on what was submitted to your office, a table was provided, or is just mentioned here without actually providing the table?
Okay, the table on
the table being referred to on the paragraph which is headed value for money analysis of bids. So, Council, we may proceed to...
Thank you. So, as I was saying, they wrote to your office on the 11th of May, 2022, and they're basically saying that the evaluation of the bid was done in accordance with the evaluation criteria set forth in the tender documents. The committee is pleased to inform your office that Tabit's Quality is found to be the most responsive bidder for the supply of 10,000 wheelie bins. We therefore submit the documentations and look forward to your approval for the award of the contract to the aforementioned supplier. Sorry, did you see that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is that correct representation?
Yes, that is their covering letter.
Okay. So your office wrote back on the 12th of May, 2022.
Yes, before you proceed.
Yes,
in the file, is there any bid document in the file?
Yes,
There's
there is
a
bidding document.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Council, you can proceed.
So you wrote back on the 12th of May 2022, and you said that the authority has reviewed your submission for approval of evaluation report and procurement of 10,000 waste bins with wheels, and herewith grants approval to the evaluation report and the award of the contract as recommended by your contract committee, as cited in section 49A, B, D, E, and F, to Tabit's Quality at an amount of $17,500,000 only. Excuse me. Further note that the unsuccessful bidder should be notified as regards the outcome of the evaluation report by completing GPPA form 030, notice of award, and the standstill period of 10 days be observed. Finally, the authority is reminding you that the 60% of the sale of bidding documents shall be paid to the authority when submitting the evaluation report. We thank you for your understanding and cooperation and avail ourselves for further guidance on your procurements. Now, does the procuring organization now have an obligation to publish the award as well? Is there something in the legislation requiring them to publish their award?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Do you know whether, or in your experience, have you seen that procuring organizations have published their awards?
No.
Yes, on the same letter, is it normal for you to request from the PO to pay 60% of the bidding documents? Or is it a requirement under the law for them to pay 60%?
It's not a requirement per se, it's a reminder to them.
It's a reminder that they should pay
Because
the
they are obliged to pay.
pay.
Yes.
That is what I'm asking. I said under the law, they are required to pay 60%
Yes, yes, yes.
of the money collected in the bidding.
Sale of bidding document, yes.
So, I don't get this. This is a form of you generating revenue, right?
Correct, yeah.
Then why did you, or why are you condoning single sourcing all the time? Even though procurement activities are way beyond the threshold.
Why do we control?
Why do you
Condone.
accept? Why do you accept and give approvals?
We
Even
accept,
where, yes, why do you accept and give approvals, even though reasons given to you are not genuine reasons? And knowing fully well that you can sustain your institution and can do more by providing more capacity, more staff to help regulate your activities better by receiving these funds. And then you keep approving single sourcing. Answer, Mr. Jete.
Yes, the single source, we have outlined here before, the director made ample clarification here that it is the least desired procurement method, in fact. In procurement they call it's a procurement method that is frowned at. But the law allows it in the thresholds, within certain thresholds, and we have outlined those thresholds. And then the law also allows it on certain conditions. Now the conditions, the extra conditions on which single source is allowed, most of the time is not met by the procuring organizations. They just pretend to be using those conditions, but they don't actually meet the conditions. And the authority still goes ahead and approve those single sources, which is not right. Mm-hmm. So the answer is?
It is not correct.
It's not correct.
Thank you. Yes. Because you advise them, and when you don't approve, they cannot go on. And when they go on, your post reviews will show that they did not comply, and there are sanctions to that effect. Because even if you don't implement the sanctions, if it goes to pack and pick, you understand, they can pick it up and provide the requisite sanctions that are required.
It is correct.
So you've lost, during this period under review, so much revenue.
It is correct. And in fact, the Honorable Commissioner is here. Whenever we go to PAC, the focus is on single source.
Exactly.
So, yes.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Thank you. Now, on the cover of a letter dated the 11th of August, 2022, KATP sent to your office the contract document signed between Canifing Environmental Transformation Program and Tabi's Quality for the supply of 10,000 wheelie bins at the cost of $17,500,000. Have you seen the letter and the contract?
Yes, submission of contract document.
Okay, so attached to that letter is the contract.
Correct.
Okay, now the contract is said to be between Canifing Environmental Transformation Program, represented by Ali Sambanyang, Project Director of KATP, hereinafter referred to as the procuring organization. Now, when we had the conversation about this file earlier, you had said that the project is something along the lines of the project is carrying out the procurement on behalf of the municipality. Now, you note that in this agreement, they have actually called the KATP the procuring organization. So they're contracting in their own name rather than Canifing Municipal Council's name. Now, do you have any indication whether this is a registered entity, the KATP project?
I'm not sure. Maybe I should find out.
Yes, please find out. And also, actually, Are you noting that down? I'll wait for you to note
Yes,
that down.
I want to note it, but I need further clarification. It's
Okay.
a project under KMC. Now, with your background, where do you think, what kind of registration are you referring to? And registering to where? At where?
So just find out from them whether they're a registered entity. They'll tell you whether they're registered and where they're registered.
Mr. Sanyang, I believe just to proceed from where Council has stopped, it is important for us to have the background information, because if you proceed on the letter, they have their own standard and set rules and conditions which they have complied with, and not with your rules.
Yes.
So it is important for you also to be guided as to the departure,
You are right.
right?
Correct.
Thank you. Council, you may proceed.
Thank you. So I'm asking that as well in line with, so the provisions of the Gambia Public Procurement Act, Section 2, defines procuring organization, and it says it means a ministry, department, agency, or organ of the state, public enterprise, local government authority, or other arm or unit of government, subvented institution, or any subdivision thereof engaging in procurement. All right, so it's given a definition of what procuring organization is. And so essentially what you're trying to do is to find out where this procuring organization falls under there. So like the local government authorities, they're created by statute, right? So they're created by an act of parliament. How is this program created? Or are they registered anywhere? Okay. So it's between the KETP and Tabis Quality of number 1 Dudu Jase Street, Bakau New Town, represented by Khadija Tuba, hereinafter referred to as the supplier. This contract follows bid procurement of 10,000 bins with wheels, 120 liters, and the supplier's offer dated 26 May 2022 as amended thereafter. It is agreed to supply the goods or perform the services, in brackets, use as appropriate, specified hereafter according to the conditions laid out in this contract form. The bid form and the price schedule submitted by the bidder, the schedule of requirements, the technical specifications or TOR, the general conditions of contract, the special conditions of contract, the procuring organization's notification of award, and another point, they have said that we already have this. If there is an advance payment, some security is needed for the loan. The project is given to the supplier. The form of security for advance payment. Now, is it the norm for a procuring organization to give to the supplier a loan in respect of a procurement that they're conducting?
The procuring organization to give.
Here they said if there is an advance payment, some security is needed for the loan. The project is given to the supplier. So this is the second to last point in the bullet points. And then after that, they say the form of security for advance payment. So I'm asking, is it usual or is it normal for?
Actually, I'm not very sure. This will be clarified in there. But then I think they are referring to, for example, payment before. You pay or you give an amount of money to a supplier.
So
that should be done against a bank guarantee.
Okay, but let us take it as they have written it. They have said a loan.
Yeah, yes.
So just answer.
Sorry, Council. Please don't assume for anybody, because you are not the writer of this letter.
Okay.
You understand? So let's interpret it as you understand it, as you understand it, or to my understanding. So if we are not clear, we can clarify to put it in context.
Okay.
All right? Please, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So is it the norm for a procuring organization to give a loan to a supplier?
As in this context,
In any context, really, in respect of a procurement that they're conducting?
I don't think so.
Okay. And is there a performance security required under the Act or the regulations for procurements exceeding perhaps a certain amount?
So help us check what is this form of procurement security, GCC 6. So they are quoting from a different set of procurement rules. So we will want you to provide that for us.
GCC 6, general conditions of the contract can be obtained on the bidding document, in the bidding document.
So I was asking whether there's provisions for performance security in the legislation.
Yes.
And can you tell us about that?
Now, we have GCC 6 on page 22 of the bidding document.
Was
And
that
what
the
does
one
it-
that the chair? Okay.
What does it say? Yes?
On the bidding document, there
Yes.
is a bidding document.
Yes, yes, yes. So
We
cannot
have GCC 6,
Yes, what does 6 say?
performance security.
Yes.
Within 30 days of the date of this contract, the supplier shall furnish to the procuring organization a performance security in the amount specified in the special condition of contract and in the form provided for failure to provide such security within 30 days shall result in cancellation of the contract and forfeiture of the supplier's bid security. 6.2, the performance security shall be payable to the procuring organization as compensation for any loss resulting from the supplier's failure to complete its obligations under the contract. 6.3, the performance security shall be discharged by the procuring organization and returned to the supplier not later than 30 days following the date of completion of the supplier's performance obligations under the contract, including warranty obligations. And 6.4, the performance security shall be issued in the form enclosed to this contract.
So was it done in this circumstance? Was it enclosed?
No, it wasn't.
Thank you. And Council, can you please clarify for me whether the supplier is Khadija Tuba or the Tazit? Is it Tazit?
It says Tarbiz Quality represented by Khadija Tuba.
Thank you. Yes, you can proceed.
So I was asking about the provisions of the legislation in respect of performance security. What is the requirement where performance security is concerned? As in, is there a percentage, like you have bid security is 2%, is there any percentage where it's for performance security?
Yes, I definitely cannot remember the section, but the percentage security should not be more than 20% of the contract amount.
The performance security?
Yes, but provided that the institution want to give a performance.
It's the supplier that's giving
Sorry,
the performance
yes.
security.
Anything more than that, up to 50%. Up to 50%, it should be. Okay. Now, nothing more than 20%, but should not be more than 50% at any instance. And this should go along with a bank guarantee of equal amount that should be given. Whatever amount is to be given as an advance payment, for example, it should go along with performance security. Sorry. There is a difference between a performance security and
advance
exactly
payment.
an advance payment guarantee. Sorry, I was looking at the advance payment guarantee. Advance payment guarantee. But the law allows payment or a provision of a performance security. The percentage I cannot remember. Yes.
Sorry. That always comes
It's
into the bid
indicated-
document.
yes, in the bidding document.
depending on the type of activity that you
Exactly,
are asking.
yes.
Yes. So, Council, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you. So let me refer you to the last page of the contract. So on the price and payment, it says the prices of the goods or services are specified in the schedule of prices. The total value of this contract is $17,500,000. Payment shall be made in the following terms. Pre-finance payment of 60% of the total value of the contract shall be available to the contractor upon request and after the signing of the contract. The final payment of 40% of the contract will be paid upon satisfactory delivery of the bins. Now, you had just talked about, well, I'm assuming it's advance payment you were talking about, that should be 20% and can't be more than 50%.
Shall be made in the following performance payment.
Been interrupted to be informed that I lost track of time. Sorry. It's past 1:30.
Yeah, so this was the last question. That's why I just wanted to finish.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Or at least this is the last issue.
Okay.
So you see that they've agreed to give an advance payment or pre-finance.
That is 3.12. Payments shall be made in the following terms. Is it?
Yes. And they have said 60%. Pre-finance payment of 60% of the total value of the contract shall be available to the contractor upon request and after signing of the contract. Now, is that permissible under the law?
Actually, I have to verify, but I think 50%, it should not be more than 50%.
So let me refer you to Regulation 145 of your regulations, which deals with advance payment.
145?
Yes. And sub 1 says that the procurement contract may provide for advance payment to suppliers, and such payment shall not exceed 20% of the total contract sum. Sub 2 says if the payment referred to under sub-regulation 1 exceeds 20% of the contract amount, prior approval shall be sought from the authority. Then the portion that you're talking about is sub 4, which says advance payments shall not exceed 50% of the total amount under any circumstances. And sub 3 said that the total amount of advance payment amount made under the procurement contract shall be made against a bank guarantee. So are you in a position to say whether they first sought approval from your authority to agree to provide advance payment of 60%, of more than 20%, and then you said that under no circumstances can they be given 50% anyway, but did they seek approval from your authority?
Anyway, in the letter sent to the authority requesting approval, I have not seen a request for advance payment of 60,000. Sorry,
60%.
Sorry, 60%. 60?
Yes, it's 60%.
60% of the total amount. I have not seen any request
But as well,
relative to that.
so the regulation is saying that under no circumstances can you approve. Let me just read that. Advance payment shall not exceed 50% of the total amount under any circumstances.
Yes.
So what would you say about this 60%? It's vis-a-vis the regulation.
It's not in line with what the law accepts.
So when they send you these contracts, do you go over them, or do you just receive them to file them in the file?
Actually, sometimes now draft contracts will be sent to us with evaluation reports and the like, and we look at them. The final one sometimes will be sent for our review and also our records purposes.
There's no indication in this file that anything other than these documents, or these letters rather, were sent. So, or is there any indication that you have any other documents in respect of this?
No, we have no indication of.
So, Chairperson,
Yes.
if you have any
let me
questions.
just ask this last question. This contract form that was filled and signed, and this is what evidence the fact that the transaction is concluded and there is a binding contract between the parties. This was sent to you, right?
Yes.
So we may be safe to assume that you went through these documents in order to send your approval, right? So it could either be there was a lapse at your end, not to look at all this, to draw their attention to that fact.
Can I just assist? The contract, were you asking whether the contract was sent before they gave approval?
Yes,
No, it was sent after.
after.
Yes, so the contract was sent under the cover of the letter dated 11th August, and they had given approval in May. Let me just confirm. Yes, so 12th May 2022, they gave approval for the award. Okay. And then 11th August 2022, KATP sent the contract to GPPA, and the contract was signed 26th May 2022 after the...
So in essence, it was for them to note and file?
Yes.
So is that the appropriate way to do it?
Actually, when it was sent, the authorities should have gone over to see if the contract's agreement as per is in accordance with what was provided for or what the law allows. If not, we should have, even that, the fact that it was sent, even after the agreement, we should have drawn their attention to that section, which, of course, is contrary to what the law says.
All right. Yes, Mr. Jete? Yeah?
No, I wasn't going to say anything, but now that you said, I will say something.
No. I thought you said.
It's okay. Normally they send the draft to us,
Yes.
and we look at the draft, and so when they finally sign the contract and it comes back to us for filing, we should, review it alongside the draft. I guess which we don't normally.
Yeah, because if you issue an approval before the contracts are signed, you will be issuing an approval where at the end of the day it will be inconsistent with the contract that they might sign at the end of the day. But even whereas they send you the final contract, you still, as an authority, have a duty to draw their attention to some of the irregularities or anomalies or the inconsistencies or the contraventions of either the act or the regulation that they must comply with, so that even if they wish to go ahead, you will have had that in record.
Absolutely. Like I said, they send us the draft.
Yes.
So when the final contract comes, we should look at it vis-a-vis the draft. And if there are any departures or inconsistencies, the fact that the contract is signed does not mean those departures or inconsistencies should not be rectified. So we should have brought it to their attention to rectify them.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're right.
All right, this is a convenient point to stop. We may rise for lunch and prayers. Thank you.
Hello.